it's a way to make decisions in a group setting and to have what I call sense-making conversations, like trying to figure out what the problems are and what the solutions could be, and have people kind of any group have a group of people propose different solutions and see how it resonates with all of the members of the group. And so where you can actually kind of not just say, oh yeah, that sounds great, but you actually vote, you actually like rate that idea from +5 to -5.
But you see the 4B tool also as being able to be used for political agreements and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple ways that I'd like this to go. One would be just, as an open forum, like a ongoing polling structure where, a whole, like a city or a state or a county or the United States or the world for that matter, could discuss issues that are pertinent to that group. Like say it's a city and they're talking about different measures and they can kind of rate them and come up with alternate ideas. So, a proposal doesn't sit by itself in 4B. A proposal has to be inside of a structure that is like if you have a proposal, there's a challenge. So the proposal is the solution and you have to already have the challenge. You have to set up the challenge, and that opens up the door for other proposals. So someone says, hey, I think we should, spend, $5 million and expand the highway. And, well, okay, that's great. So we need more. What's the solution? What's the problem you're trying to do? Oh, we have traffic jams. Okay. So here's the problem. We have traffic jams on the, I-5 corridor or whatever it is. And so let's propose some solutions. And so that kind of thing. And so you can see hopefully the cream will rise to the top. It's a big experiment, but so there's that polling idea where a government could kind of gather ideas and see how strongly different ideas are supported by their constituency. But then the other, like even more crazy idea is like, say, like in the city of Amsterdam, say like 51% of the people in the city of Amsterdam were using 4B to coordinate. And they said, you know what, let's vote somebody in who's going to do what the people want, on a platform like 4B. And they vote somebody in. He's like, yeah, I'll just do what it says, do what the people vote for. Then 4B will have sort of taken over the city of Amsterdam in a sense. And so, and then, legislation could be put in where the city of Amsterdam would, automatically poll its entire citizenry, and it would have to get a certain amount of support, on any bills and et cetera. And so that then it would start to bring about, direct democracy or integrated democracy. So that, who knows if that'll ever happen, but it's kind of worth a try.
Well, I can tell you a little story maybe. I love your idea. And the reason I love it so much probably is back when I did care a lot about politics, I used to look at all the government waste like I was in the Navy. I was in the Navy in the late 80s and late 80s, early 90s. And I remember at the end of the fiscal year, the officers would come to me and they would say, hey, I need you to spend $1 million or sometimes more between now and the end of the month. And I'm like, I'm just an electronic tech. How am I going to spend $1 million? I'm like, you got to be creative. You can buy whatever you want to buy. Like literally, like buy whatever you want to buy that goes on the ship. So I would buy like radar systems and different, communication systems. And the reason they were doing this was because if they didn't spend the money that they were allocated, they lost it the following year.
Right.
When I thought, well, surely, like after like 20 years or something, I'm thinking, well, surely they're not doing this anymore. But no, not only is the military doing it, but every government organization in the United States and probably the world are doing something similar. And so there's so much waste just built in. It's crazy.
Right.
And then so to further that, I was like, okay, how much money do we spend on our Senate and our congressmen, right? On the U.S. scale, we're not talking state government, we're talking federal scale.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what if the United States were to just keep the senators in place? So every state had 2 senators, and they completely eliminated all of the Congress. Like Congress just disappeared. You didn't need Congress because you had the software They could do everything Congress does, right?
Exactly right.
So
Exactly.
what? So as you're describing your son,
Senate, for that matter.
yeah, and Senate. But as you're describing this, I mean, you could literally blow away the entire U.S. Congress or any Congress.
You've nailed it exactly. Like, it doesn't replace the judiciary branch. It doesn't replace the executive branch.
Right.
It replaces the most dysfunctional, the legislative branch. It replaces the Senate and the Congress ultimately.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it would play out if it did do that. But yeah.
Well, it would solve a couple problems. Yeah, the United States would never go to war again because I'm convinced that if you remove politicians from the war scenario, that people will not vote to go to war ever.
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
And then the other thing is just the amount of waste. I mean, I can't. I mean, just one politician at the senior level that's out there they're spending, I would imagine, close to $20-30 million of tax money a year. Multiply that times all the numbers of people in Congress. I mean, the savings would be insane. But the other thing that would happen is people don't. I think it was Harvard went through and they looked at popular opinion, and they looked at how Congress votes, and there's no correlation whatsoever.
I saw that.
There's no correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just abundantly clear that legislators do what their donors want, not what their constituents want. So, corruption.
Man, I love your idea, man. If that could ever get implemented, I mean, it seems easy, right? You just get rid of the Congress and
just a little constitutional change, no problem.